Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Empowerment Project podcast. I am Andrea Bosco.
And I'm Dr. Shar. Hey, everyone.
Thank you for being here. So, today we want to talk about a hot topic right now in around the idea of bringing more social and emotional learning into the classroom. And I'll tell you why this has come up. And it's not because, we don't talk about it all the time. I mean, that's what a lot of our platform is with the Empowerment Project is we bring in emotional intelligence learning, we bring in human skills learning into the classroom. And this is pretty much why we started the platform. Um, but more and more we have been encountering teachers, principals, parents, all types of educators that feel there's a lack of this area in the school system, right, Shar?
Yes, I agree.
And so what kind of made me want to talk about this even more was the other day I had posted on my personal story on Instagram that it was a post by some guy. I don't even know who the guy is. I liked his sort of idea around not focusing on grades. And basically, he said, like, when my kids come home with their report card, I don't even care what the report card says. I'm more interested in how are they developing socially and emotionally? Are they good people? Are they respectful? Um, yes, of course, meeting the benchmarks of reading and writing are important, but the over focus on grades is a problem. And so I had posted that thinking like, oh yeah, everyone's going to agree with me, or not everyone's going to agree, but that it was, not going to be such like a button pusher, I think, for people. But what I got was a big mix of response from people. Not, and I'm not saying it was bad. Like it was like a lot of people were like, I 100% agree. And I have a lot of educators that follow me, and whether they're friends or whether they're people I don't know, but they're in the field, and they were responding in agreement. But then there were others that were like, yeah, but wait, like this isn't just a classroom issue. Like this is something that comes from the top. And, even government standards and how, we have EQAO testing. And this is from the government wanting to see that, children are meeting these academic standards. Um, and so it's basically a bigger story, which I can 100% appreciate. So we thought we'd bring it here. We chat with each other about it. And, we love to hear your feedback. So if you're listening to this, please reach out to us with your feedback. And listen, we're not here to, you know, criticize anyone. Like this is just what we're seeing in our own experience. But it's really about opening up this conversation
Hmm.
around, could things be different? Like, could we try it a different way? Because from what we're experiencing is that some of what's happening is not working. Like when these students eventually leave school and they get into the workforce, there's a disconnect. Like there's a problem with their social and emotional behavior,
Hmm.
like from communication, like that's a big one.
Hmm.
And just general like regulation of
Yeah,
behavior.
of course. Like how they're resolving, issues with their friends. And, are they able to talk it through? Do they just decide they're not going to be friends anymore because it's uncomfortable for them? Like all of these things that are such, they're necessary skills. I mean, and they're not just necessary because we're saying it. When you walk out of the safety of your school, whether it's elementary school or high school, you walk into a community and a space of learning where you meet so many different people from so many different walks of life. And if you don't know how to conduct yourself in these new spaces, or at least be open and have that growth mindset to learning, then you're pretty much done. Right?
Yeah.
Like there's no way that you can actually thrive in those spaces. So,
Mhm.
I totally agree with you, Andrea. I think that social emotional learning piece needs to be a massive part of curriculum. And I totally get what this guy is saying about grades. And if you don't mind, I'm going to just share what I've done with my kids, like, because I've got one in university, one in high school, and then one in elementary school. So I've experienced it through university, obviously high school twice, and then elementary school three times. But I'm going to say that I also didn't care about their grades. So when my kids came home with their report card, I wasn't concerned about the number or the letter. I was more concerned about the comments. Like, I'm okay, well, if you got a B or a C or whatever it is, let's read the comments and find out what's happening. Like, where's the disconnect?
Mhm.
And so what I found with my kids is that they were all different learners. So
Mhm.
they required different support, which I feel was the biggest issue in school is they didn't have the support to or give them the foundation they needed for their learning. So I had to find different resources, whether it was an extracurricular activity, whether it was a tutor, whatever it was. But I had to find things to support their learning. And so what I always did with my kids is when my kids would say to bring the report card, I would say, okay, well, if this is what your teacher is saying, is there something that we can do about this at home? Like, how can we match what the teacher's saying? And so, even when I used to go into parent teacher interviews, the first thing I would tell the teachers is this is a team effort. What
Mhm.
you're telling me about my child and what my child needs is something I'm happy to support in my home to make sure my child is getting the learning and the attention and the focus that they need to thrive in the classroom. And most teachers were shocked. They were shocked when I said that because most parents go in and they're like, oh, it's all your fault. Like, my child isn't learning because it's you. And
Mhm.
there is no way you can blame a child's inability to learn on just the teacher. Like, if your child is a special needs child, are you get making sure that your child has the support in the classroom? Are you making sure that they have the support outside of the classroom? Because I don't think our classrooms are set up for success for different learners, for neurodivergent learners, if you will.
Mhm.
So for me, it was really important that whatever was showing up on the report card, I'd never cared about the numbers. I was like, okay, how are we using this? And how is this making you a better person? Like, is this helping you build your leadership skills? Is this helping you build initiative? Like, do you have the desire to do well?
Mhm.
Right? And so, it was like all of those things. Like, I wanted to talk to my child to find out where they were. And you know what? They're smart. Our kids are really smart. Like, they know what is missing. If you ask them the questions, they'll be able to tell you what they need. And then as a parent, it's our job to make sure that those needs are being fulfilled and addressed if they're not being addressed in the classroom.
Yeah, and I think, you're hitting on two really important topics is where are parents stepping in? Because so
Yeah.
that was a lot of the comments I was getting from people that were a little bit not against my opinion, but that were sort of like, hold on a second, it's not just about the school, but what's happening at home. Because someone said to me, we weren't taught social and emotional skills in school,
Mhm.
but where did we learn it? We learned it at home because we were given responsibility, we
Yes.
were given chores to do, we were sent outside for unsupervised um playtime. Like, we had no choice but to learn those skills. But I would also argue that, that was also with not without like our own trauma, right?
Yes,
Like,
of course.
yes, we learned those skills, but we also didn't have like a huge safe space to like express ourselves and express our feelings, which is hence why a lot of Gen Xers are like the most traumatized generation. But that aside, I agree. I said to her, I said 100%. So in this digital world that we're all living and raising our children in, and this a bit of like this super safe, overprotective world that we're raising our kids in, these skills are not being nurtured and developed as much in the home setting. So due to that, due to that fact, where we know it's not happening as much at home, why can't then the schools take more of an active role approach and saying, listen, we're not going to take all the blame. Like, we get it. Like, more can be done at home.
Yeah,
And
totally.
that could also be, educating parents and doing parent nights and doing all that stuff. But also, can we weave this better into our curriculum so that because we know there is a lack of it in the household structure, we can then improve that from a like a classroom, and therefore I understand you as a parent, didn't care about grades, and I feel the same way. But what I found was, now not so much my son yet because he's still only in grade 5, but when my daughter got into grade 8, like she didn't really care about grades, but as soon as she got into grade 8 and she realized that there was like honor roll
Mhm.
and there were these like academic sort of achievements, like that's when she started to put more pressure on herself. And now in high school, there's a huge focus on grades because that's what you need to get into university or
Yes.
a good college or whatever it is. So
Mhm.
the thing is we can say all we want, don't care about grades, kids. Like make sure you're emotionally intelligent and you're good people. And we could say that all we want to our kids. But if the system is still demanding this high achievement in order to make anything of yourself, in order to get into any decent school, then it's almost like we're just hitting a brick wall with our
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's like, and I know you even have that with your daughter going to university this
yeah,
year, and
and so I'm that is and so this is the thing, like, so that elementary school is really where I didn't care. It was like, are you developing as a great person? And so I've had 2 daughters that have gone through the high school setting. So I'm not really gonna count my oldest because she actually was her 11 and 12 was during COVID. So
Mhm,
I was just hoping that she was mentally sound by the time she graduated from high school. But with my middle one, what I've noticed is she has put so much pressure on herself to achieve good grades. And you know what? Like, on one hand, I'm glad that she's really driven,
mhm,
and awesome, amazing, because you're right. If you're applying to university nowadays, if you don't have a 90 plus average, it's hard to get into like the university of your choice, the program of your choice, and all of that good stuff. And so there's a couple of components to it. So the first I'm going to say is she wanted to do really well and she put a lot of pressure on herself and she ended up with a 95% average. Okay, she ended up at now I also saw her break down multiple times
mhm.
in those 4 years because her self-worth and value was attached to her grades.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
not
huge.
something that I put on her, like, or my husband put on her. And it was something that like we often have to talk her off a cliff.
Mhm,
Like your grades don't make you who you are, but for some reason and somewhere, this is what it came down to, that her grades are really based, really were holding her worth and value. So here we are. She's graduating. She graduates with a 95% average. She didn't get one scholarship.
mhm,
Like, well, okay, so that's sorry, that's not fully true. She did get small entrance scholarships to 2 universities, but for the university that she did want to go to, she didn't get a penny. So again,
Yeah.
I'm not upset that she didn't accept the universities where she got the money, because that those aren't the schools that she wanted to go to. But her heart was like set on this university, and she didn't get her penny. Her friend, who had the same average as her, got like a $10,000 scholarship,
Mhm.
but to a different program, for example.
Mhm.
So so for her, when she found out, so they both found out they both got into the same university, they applied to 2 different programs, and her friend got a $10,000 scholarship and she got nothing. She was like, "What was the point?
Mhm.
What was the point in me killing myself and going through all of that trauma to find out that I get into the university of my choice, but they don't give me a single penny?" And my
Mhm.
friend who applied to a different program gets 10 grand. She was so upset.
Mhm.
So,
Well, that yeah, and then like you said, she feels kinda like, "Yeah, what's the point?"
what
And
was the point?
I think, because the other response I've been getting from people too is like, if we don't give them academic goals and achievements, then will they even try? Like, what's the point of
Right.
like, are we teaching them hard work? And I agree. We have to teach our kids to work hard and to do their best. It's
Mhm.
not about sitting back and breezing through life. Like, I 100%, and I say that to my kids. I'm like, are you putting an effort in? Or are you acting like you don't give a crap?
Mhm.
Like, that's two very different things. So let's say, your daughter did her best, didn't kill herself and like have to be walked off the cliff every few months,
Oh my god.
you know, would her results have been the same in the sense like okay, maybe she would have had a 90 average instead of 95 and she still would have gotten into her school of choice, but maybe with a little bit less like stress and trauma like
Mhm.
attached to it. And so yeah, like I think it's not about not teaching them to work hard and to do their best,
Yeah.
but do they have to like kill themselves in a way and like, create this stress in their body and all that stuff. And then, another part of me thinks, well, is that part of the process? Like, is that part of them learning how to, deal with problems and critical think and just regulate themselves? Like, is that part of it? But I don't know. I think it is very extreme. Like, I don't think we have to go to those extremes to push our kids to get 95s. Like, I don't know. I think there could be like a better solution. I don't know what
Well
it is,
well,
but
you
I'm
know what I think?
trying to find out.
Well, you know what I think what we have to remember first and foremost is we are our children's first teachers,
Yeah.
right? Like, let's be honest. So if we're not laying down the foundation for them, then it might be hard for them to catch on when they get to school. So, okay, so what I'm basically saying here is that that desire and that drive and that encouragement that they need, I think that comes from home. And whether you're getting
Mhm.
a 70 average or an 80 average or a 90 average, it doesn't matter. I feel like if there's a drive and desire, like, because not everybody's meant to go to universities. There are some very intelligent, capable individuals that go into the trades, for example. And why are trades looked down upon? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, why do you need a
amazing.
university degree? Right there. So, what I'm saying is that I think that I don't think it's grades. I think it's the I want to do this for myself. Like, I want to
Mhm.
see myself succeed and excel. So I'm going to do the best that I know how with the circumstances and the structure that I've been put into, because remember, high school and elementary school and university and they're all structured. I'm going to do my best in those, and I'm going to also figure out other ways to be encouraged, or maybe I need to find a really good mentor to encourage me, or maybe I need to find someone that I can that can coach me to be the best version of myself, if it's not your parent or if it's not a teacher or someone in, like, in your field, I guess, if you will.
Mhm.
But I think encouragement is huge. I think the recognition of the work that they're putting in. Right, like, because when you think about it, what's the difference between someone that wants to just, graduate from high school and whatever, and then someone that's not getting the grades, but still driven to excel and be successful in their life? And listen, I'm not judging or shaming or guilting anybody into the choices that they're making, but when I think, not even but, and when I think about it, I think that it's the support system around them
Mhm.
that either builds them up or tears them down. Because let's be honest, we know the brain doesn't fully develop until the age of 25, right? We
Mhm.
know that. A teenage brain, I mean, they're fully not developed until the age of 25. So that's really when they kind of reach the like adulthood, if you will, like in my eyes, right?
Yeah.
So what's happening around them up to that point in time? Like, where are they getting their support from, their encouragement? Like, what's feeding their own desire to do well? And when I say well, I'm not talking about grades, but just excel in life.
Yeah, and have some type of drive to pursue their curiosities or their passions, or
Yeah.
because yeah, like, not everyone is gonna be a book worm, learning with pen and paper,
Yeah.
or, wanting to get into fields that require that. Like, there's the artists, there's the,
Yeah,
um
for sure.
there's so much. And, it's interesting is like, Isabella was at her school art show last week, and she was part of the committee to put it on. And she saw this drawing that somebody drew, and she's like, it was the most incredible drawing I've ever seen in my life. And she goes, when I saw the name on it, it was this guy in my class that is like failing, and like barely shows up to class. He's like this burnout. She's like, Mom, I thought he was like a drug dealer. Like, she's like, I don't even know. I just didn't really think this guy gave a crap. And when I saw his drawing, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, and I said to her, listen, everyone has something that gets them up in the morning, or
Right.
that gets them going. And, when we brush these students off on, they're just not learning along with the rest of them,
Because they're
then
not good at math and science. Like, who cares?
exactly. Then, it does, I do feel it sets them up for failure. And listen, I'm not saying that the schools are not supporting these students. Like, I know that there's some really good schools, guidance counselors that bring these kids in, and they say, okay, listen, we get it. It's not going to happen in math and science, but let's figure out what you are doing well at, and you know, let's get you graduated, and, whatever. And I see that. But again, I have to like bring up this whole topic of academic achievement.
Yeah.
And is that the only way we are basing success on?
Yeah.
Or is there another way? Is there something else that we can show success in? Or is there another marker of success these students can achieve and not just grades? Like,
Yeah.
like, and again, I don't know what that is, but like, okay, I'll bring this up in that, apparently in one of the school boards, and I don't know if this is for all the Ontario school boards, but starting next year, they're taking away honor roll in grade 8, and they're changing the word graduation to promotion, which, anyway, I don't know about that. It's sort of a language thing, but in terms of, so this idea of taking away honor roll is a big problem for a lot of parents, and they're like, why are they taking it away? And, if my child achieves, honor roll, they should be recognized for it. I get that. I understand that. But at the same time, not every kid's going to get honor roll. Maybe that's just like they're trying hard and they're just not getting there. But maybe they are like a really good leader, or they help solve problems in the classroom, and they include people, and they start good friendships, and I don't know, but maybe there's another skill that they're extremely good at. Why can't they also be recognized for that? And in the Catholic system, they have virtues of the month. And some schools, our school used to do a way better job at acknowledging the person who got that virtue of the month. Like, a virtue could be responsibility, it could be justice. Like there's like 12 virtues. And so maybe it's not just taking away honor roll, keeping honor roll, but having some other marker as well, that some of these students that maybe are not making honor roll can also work towards. And again, this isn't about like everyone gets an award or everyone gets a ribbon. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
trying to say
yeah.
that, everyone needs to be acknowledged in some way, because that's not going to happen. And I'm not about that, but I am about giving different markers for success versus just numbers on a paper.
So for me, that's been a huge learning. And I'm going to tell you why. And maybe it was the same for you, but culture has a lot to do with it.
100%.
So I grew up, um, obviously, in a South Asian culture where if you didn't have like a 95 plus average, you were basically like, like that's it. Like you're done. You're not smart and you're a failure. Like it was like that kind of culture. So we do see that a lot in the South Asian, the East Asian culture. Like grades are a massive part of their identity, I'm going to say.
Mhm.
Okay, of their identity.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there was so much learning around this for me. So my oldest is in a arts program and her focus has been music. So, and when I tell you she plays 5 different instruments, she when she plays her instruments, I cry because
Mm.
there's so much passion behind it. And so, of course, when I go to family gatherings, they're like, "Oh, so what is she doing?" And I said, "Oh, well, she's graduating with a degree." "Oh, in what?" I said, "She's doing music. She's doing arts and music." "Oh, well, what is she going to do with that?" I said, "I don't know. She's going to figure it out." And they're like, "Oh, that's okay. That's okay. She'll figure it out." Like, yeah. And then I just feel like punching all these people, first of all. I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, I know it's okay. Just because it's your hang up, it's not mine.
Yeah.
Like when I see success markers, I see it in my first child
Yeah.
because I've seen how much she's grown. When she went away to university that first year, she walked into a program in psychology in French at Ottawa University. And she came home at break and she's like, "This is not for me. I need to pursue my passion." So she knew right away that she's like, I'm fooling myself. I'm fooling myself to pretend to do something because somebody else is doing it. Because again, 11 and 12 was lost for her. So she was still trying to figure out what it was that she was good at. So she came home. I said, "Okay, Alicia, guess what? That's fine. You go and now research. Go and research universities, go and research programs. I don't care if it's university, I don't care if it's college, I don't care about anything, but I want you to research programs that are really going to feel like you want to be there. Like it's it's feeding that passion and that fire in you, because the thing is that I think that's one of the biggest problems. Like if your passion is not science and math, then you're basically done. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like they all listen, we've been hearing it forever, starving artists. And as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned, tapping into that creative space is probably the most divine thing you can do, right?
Yeah.
Creation, that's God. Creativity, that's God. Like, and whether you believe in God or source or whatever, like that is coming from that talent and that gift comes from a higher source. And that's how I view it. So I said to her, I said, "You figure it out." So she's now graduating from Western. She has a degree in arts and her foundation has been music production. So as you
Beautiful.
know, Alicia's done so many artistic pieces already, including the intro and outro to
Yes.
our podcast, which has been huge for us. And a great way to her for her to start setting up her talent. And I've asked her, I said, okay, well, what are your next steps? Like, what would you like to do? Now, I don't want to tell her what she needs to do. I have some ideas that I think would be good for her, but I'm going to support her and I can guide her, but I'm not going to tell her what to do. So,
Yeah.
you know what she said to me? She said, Mom, the next thing that I need to do is I need to find a job. She said, I need to get some really good experience under my belt. I need to network with people. I need
Mhm.
to talk to people. I need to learn how to communicate. I need to learn how to work in a team. Like, I need real skills. And she said, and
Mhm.
if after 2 years, in 2 years, she said, and in 2 years, if I feel like I need to go back to school to do a master's, I'm going to do it. But she said, what I need right now is building that skill set that I don't have, that I lost. I
Yeah.
lost it, because again, because here's the other thing. Her entire last semester at Western was online.
Mhm. That's
She's
crazy.
right. So she's like, okay, mom, there's no point in me staying on campus if all of my classes are online. Like, I'm not paying. So again, in her head, she's like, I work hard for my money and I'd rather save it and invest it. So I'm coming home. I'm going to do my last semester online. I can continue my part-time job. But she's like, now I need something that's going to build that skill set. So the thing is that she knows what she wants. She's already applying for certain certificates. Like, she wants to teach violin. So she's applying with the RCM to get her certificate to teach. Like, so she already knows what she needs. And I feel, and listen, I'm not like patting myself on the back going, good job, Shar. I'm saying that,
Well, why
like,
not?
uh,
I would.
well, I feel like, my husband and I have given her space to do it.
Mhm.
But do you know where the biggest learning came in? Was with me. I
Yeah.
had to change.
I was gonna
I
say, that wasn't easy for you to
No,
do.
it was not, because
Yeah.
I'm like, and the reason why I want to punch all these people in the face is because they were freaking triggering a wound in me.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, it was hitting my self-worth and my value and the way I've parented. Like, I was so angry, Andrea, I can't even tell. And then I had to get myself together. I'm like, who the hell are these people? Like, I don't even care about what they think. And because again, a lot of these parents in these cultures and traditions base their value and worth on what their kids are doing.
Yeah.
So you're valued and you feel like you're superior and that you're great. And oh, I'm so grateful and thank God my kids are like all charter accountants, like, or whatever they're doing. That has nothing to do with your kid. That has everything to do with you as parents and what you've pushed your kids to do or not. But that's basically building your value. And for me, it was like, no, I cannot base my value and my worth on what my child is doing. My child has their own journey and their own learning that they need to do. How can I support them? And the way that I support them was working on myself.
Yeah.
Like, it always comes down to that. Like, and
Yeah.
listen, I've talked about this. Like, I've been swimming in tears and like in puddles and puddles of tears because I had to uncover my own garbage and my own lack, only to allow my child to do what she wants to do, and and support her through her journey. And do you want to hear the craziest thing? And I still remember this day. It was a Monday. It was at the beginning of the school year. Whether this year or last year, I can't remember, but I still remember. So I dropped my son off at piano, and it was a warm September day. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for a walk. And it was the night before I had my meltdown in my room. In my tears, I was like, oh my God. So, walking in nature, I was like, okay, I need to kind of get myself together. Sure enough, I'm on my walk and my daughter calls me and she's like, guess what? I figure exactly what I want to do. I'm doing A, B, and C because A is going to help me when I get to B. And when I'm at B, I'm going to learn A, B, and C. And that's going to help me with the next step and the next step. And she had this whole plan. And I was like, wow, what just happened? And what
Mhm.
happened was I let go. I stopped
Yeah.
worrying. I let go and let God. I'm like, "Okay, I know that you have this and that she's got this, and I have to take this worry off my plate because if I worry, it means I don't have trust and faith in her journey."
Mhm.
And that was it.
Yeah, exactly. And so those skills that I'm hearing you are instilling in your children and similar to what I'm striving to do for mine, those are the skills that these students need,
And the
right?
support, and the support.
And the support, right? Because, you know, again, at the end of the day, like, what is the goal? Like, don't we just want people, like, don't we just want to be happy? Like, we just want to be happy.
Mhm.
And yes, I get it. Money and a good job contributes to some extent
Yes, of
to that joy,
course.
which I get. But, you know, I can't tell you how many, like, a lot of my nieces and nephews are now graduating university, and they are having such a hard time finding work.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard to find work out there. And so a lot of them are deciding to go back for trades or go back for a college program, something that is more focused. But also, like, we're asking these students or these children to make these big decisions on their life
Mhm.
plans at like 16 years old. And I'm going to say 16 because
Right.
they start pushing it into you in grade 10
Mhm.
and like going into grade 11. And so why is it like, I get it. Let's have a plan. Let's encourage them to follow their curiosities and follow their interests. But why not make it okay to change their mind too?
Yeah.
Or why not make it okay to decide that university isn't the way to go and I want to pursue something in the colleges or whatnot? Because yeah, like if we're not doing that, then I feel like the pressure to decide and to stick to something could actually be more detrimental in the long run,
Mhm.
right? And like you said, culturally speaking, a lot of these students are told, yeah, you're going to become a doctor, you're going to become a lawyer, you're going to become an accountant, or and that's the only path that they are even allowed to think about. And but what if that's not what they want to do?
Yeah.
And what if they decide they want to change their mind? Like, are they supported? Are they given the opportunity to try something else? And the sad thing is a lot of them aren't.
No,
And
you're
there
right.
and that's leading to the anxiety, the depression, the lack of that inability to communicate or have that kind of drive for things because you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for somebody else. And I think the fact that you allowed Alicia to explore that and not get your own crap on top of it is a big deal. And listen, we all want to make our parents happy, right? We all
Mhm.
want to make our parents proud. But I think as parents, what we want out of for our kids is just to be happy and to be mentally stable. And like that, I know for me, that's what I want. Like, they don't need to be millionaires if it means the cost of their mental health or physical health, because we know that's intertwined.
Mhm.
Um, so if they can figure that out, then actually I'm more proud versus like numbers on a page or degrees under your belt.
Yeah, that whole idea of like, "Oh, it's my job to make my parents happy," or even
Yeah,
for us to feel like it's our job to make our kids happy. Like,
yeah,
no, it's not. Our job is not to make our kids happy. Our job is to make our kids resilient. So
yeah,
when they fall, they know how to get back up. Like, I just think about again, with my kids, again, because it's three different kids that different personalities and different parenting styles that I've kind of had to use with the three of them. But I want them to know that, just because you fall doesn't mean that's the end of your world. Like, do you know how to get yourself back up? Do you know how to dust yourself off and keep moving forward, or make a different choice, or pivot, or add, or take out, or like, do you know how to do all those things so you feel stable and secure in the decisions that you're making? And guess what? Nobody's path is the same, and it's always going to look different. But if it's not what you wanted, can you make the changes to make it look the way that you want it to look? Like, you know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like, it's really hard. Like, and I actually, it's so funny that you're saying that, because I went to an art gallery, and my middle one had some art displayed, and there was one artist, same thing. I looked at his art and I said, "Congratulations, that's such a beautiful piece." I said, "Are you grade 11 or 12?" He's like, "I'm in grade 12 and I'm going to this university for something." I said, "Oh, you're not pursuing art?" He's like, "No, my parents wouldn't let me."
Mm.
Right? So again, right, like culturally speaking, there's so much pressure in pursuing all of those, like, I don't know, structured professions, if you will. I don't even know
Yeah.
what you would call them.
Yeah, I know. I know. So, listen, this is obviously a massive topic
Mhm.
we can talk about for hours. So what I'd love to do is to kind of come back with a part 2, maybe bring Christina into the conversation because
Yeah.
she has worked in the education space, and obviously, there's elements of this that we don't know. Like, we don't know everything that's happening curriculum wise. I mean, we are talking to a lot more teachers that are telling us there's a desire to bring more social and emotional learning into the system, although the red tape and some barriers hinder it, but that the direction is moving towards that. So let's come back. Let's bring in some of that conversation into the mix, and keep it going, because
Mhm.
this is how movement happens,
Mhm.
right? Like, nothing's going to change if nothing changes,
Yeah, it's
right?
true, it's true.
Right. So if we can start to have these conversations with, educated people, with people in the know, and that we can start moving the needle a little bit, and also building our own support in this space.
Mhm.
um because I know for you and I, we got into this space and we decided to build the empowerment project because of our desire to see change in the classroom,
Right.
to provide these learning skills, and, you know, yeah, see it become like a regular contribution in the space. And
Yeah.
so
It's
yeah,
not like, it's not that we wanna go in and change curriculum, but how do we weave these social emotional learning skills into curriculum so curriculum's a little bit more, I wanna say, dense, like nutrient rich. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
exactly. So let's put a pin in this.
Mhm.
I hope everyone got a little something out of today's discussion. And again, let us know when you listen to this and how you feel about it. And it's okay if you disagree with us. Like, we want
Mhm.
that too, because we need that other side, or that other type of opinion. We're not here saying everything, like, we're right and you're wrong. Let's open up this conversation. So come back next week. We will discuss a little bit more of this, and we hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.